in the set, I'm in the setup. Okay, so I went to the company information. Okay, and I click now. So this is the company information user interface. So what does this company information tells us? For example, so whenever we create a new org, okay. So just like whenever we create a new record, okay. For example, a record, okay, a record. So each and every record will have its own ID, unique ID. Similarly, for each and every Salesforce org, we have each and every record. I mean, org itself, they have their own ID, okay, their own ID. Just remember this. So when this will be useful for us? For example, if for any reasons, if we reach out to Salesforce support, saying that so and so is not working in your Salesforce org, okay, so we can actually reach out to Salesforce support for certain if you see any issues in your Salesforce org, okay, and if you feel that it's a product issue, okay, and you do not have anything in your implementation, any issues in your implementation. So in those cases, we can reach out to Salesforce support and we can explain what is the wrong. We can explain what we have implemented, and this is expected behavior, but it's not working in the Salesforce. So at that time, they will actually ask what is your Salesforce ID. So during that time, so you should be able to go to the company information. If they ask you, okay, what is your Salesforce, you should be able to provide it. Okay, clear?
Yes.
And if you see here, organization edition, okay. So we need to talk about editions, okay. So organization edition. So currently, the Salesforce org that we are using is of developer edition, okay. So this is a unique ID, okay. And coming to editions, we are using the developer edition, okay. So you may ask me questions, what is edition? Okay. So what is Salesforce edition? Okay. So current one we are using developer edition, okay. Salesforce actually classified its different offerings into different editions, okay, different editions. So what do you mean by edition? Like different categories, okay, of their offering, different categories of offerings, okay. So what do you mean by offerings? Okay, so means, so when we say editions, so they have classified up to 4 to 5 different editions. For example, if I'm very new in the business, okay, I need Salesforce, but I don't want full capabilities of Salesforce. So even if you provide me a little bit of, I mean, not full capabilities, a little bit of subset of capabilities of Salesforce, okay, and with less amount, okay. So then we have separate edition. Okay, another thing, for example, you are a very big company, you need all the capabilities, large number of storage limits, okay. We need to integrate with multiple systems. Okay, so in that systems, so we need to pay money if you want that type of Salesforce edition. You need to pay money more. Okay, they will give the different edition. So basically, it's like classification of the offerings of the Salesforce. So okay, so whatever we are using for free. Okay, this is for free. So this free edition we will call it as a without money we are using, right? We will call it as developer edition. Okay, so we have many other editions like okay, so. See, we have different. I will actually show you, but name for unlimited edition, enterprise edition. Okay. Next, professional edition. So professional edition. So many. There are other professional.
They all are paid.
Yeah. Only developer edition is free.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And there is a starter edition. Okay, there are other couple of more. Okay, so let me show you how this money is. I mean, how much money we need to pay. Okay, so give me Salesforce editions and their money we need to pay for each edition. Okay, let me show you. See, if you see, so this is one edition, starter suite, okay, pro suite, okay, this is one edition. Next, enterprise, unlimited, agent one sales, okay. So I just typed only enterprise unlimited, but we have this one also, starter, pro suite also, okay.
Okay.
So what does Salesforce offer in each edition? Okay. So if you want to start with very little, then you can go with this one. So how much they are charging? So for each and every sales user that you have in your Salesforce, you need to pay $25 per month for each user. Okay, so you can pay it on monthly or annually basis. So what are the capabilities that it is going to get when you actually buy this edition? So these are the different editions. You don't need to remember each edition. Just remember 4 to 5 names like Enterprise, Unlimited. Okay, so there is that is called this one also. It's not showing up. Okay, professional edition also is there, but not sure why it is not showing up. Okay, so they're like, say if you go here, so Agent Force one is the sales is the highest one. Okay, so here you have AI capabilities. Okay, so there's an advantage of products of the different what you call features of the Salesforce. Okay, so you can have the Tableau next, Slack we can integrate, so like that. So are you clear with that? See, just you need to remember we have different editions for each business based on their budget and based on their need. They will actually decide which edition to buy. Clear?
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Next, see, if you see, these are all the different products of the sales. So like we have the sales cloud. If you remember, we discussed what do you mean by sales cloud. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Also, there are different products. Okay. So if you see, even if you buy any of these editions, some products you need to pay them separately. Okay. Some cases. Okay. So for example, if you want to see some Tableau next, okay, or data cloud, so data 360 will connect as data cloud. Okay. So for those things, we have some different pricing. If you want to say, for example, you need to purchase the data cloud. So you need to, or else if MuleSoft, you might have heard this name. Okay, it's actually integration tool. Okay, we can integrate with Salesforce to another Salesforce, another non-Salesforce systems or another Salesforce or without coding. You can actually.
Okay, MuleSoft used to be a different.
Yeah, it's a different. Okay, but you can actually integrate with the Salesforce. Okay.
Okay.
Clear. So see, they will actually offer certain what you call help or features. Okay, so these are the different products of the Salesforce, I can say. Okay, so data cloud, marketing cloud. If you remember, we discussed about what is marketing cloud. Okay, so Einstein AI tool, AI assistance tool. So these are the different tools. Okay, so if you want to explore more, you can actually explore more. Okay. So you don't need to go and remember on the pricing and all. You just need to aware of what we have the different pricing. That's it. You don't need to focus more. That's it. So you don't need to deep dive into dig into this pricing and all. Just remember we have the different editions. So if you want to confirm or which edition you are actually using once you join the company, you should go to the company information. Then you need to check on this edition. Okay, clear?
Okay.
Okay. Next we have the instance. Okay, instance is AP60. So what do you mean by instance? Where does it will be helpful? Okay. So we have something called status.salesforce.com. So what do you mean by status.salesforce.com? So we already discussed, or we already know that each and every Salesforce org, okay, in Salesforce, we have 3 releases per year, if you remember, okay, we discussed it.
Yes.
So what
yes.
do we call that?
Summer,
spring,
winter, spring. Yes.
Okay. See, by any chance, if you see, they will actually classify their Salesforce editions into different things, like APAC region, European Union region, USA region, like that. Okay, Asia Pacific region, like that. Okay. So if you see something called AP, it's like Asia Pacific. If you see something called European Union, okay. So where does this will be useful means? Okay. So let me open one here. Okay. So if you copy here and copy your instance ID, and if you go and search here in instance, and if you click on search, okay. So it will actually, if you click on again here, if you see, it will actually give the what is the maintenance history of this particular Salesforce org. Okay.
Okay.
So what do you mean basically is, for example, for each and every release, for every 4 months they will be releasing one release. I mean, they will be releasing one major release like summer, okay, or winter. Okay. So at that time they may give you certain downtime, okay, during that so and so 5 and certain minutes. Or else, for example, suddenly any one of the product of the Salesforce org might be a downtime. Okay. For example, not working as expected, they're not unable to open. So by using this instance ID and going to the status.salesforce.com, we can see if there is any current history issue is going on. So for example, I am experiencing in my org, which is actually instance ID AP60. See, multiple Salesforce hours can be have the same instance ID. That means they will be actually what you call clubbing multiple Salesforce hours into one instance ID. Okay, maybe I cannot say exact number. So if any one of the product, for example, analytics product is not working, now all the Salesforce are which has the instance ID. See, RKD will be unique. Okay, so instance ID can be same for multiple apps. It's like a cluster box. Okay, box. Okay. So if something is not working, they will put it's like they will uncheck this one or something. They will actually show you indication that something is not working. Okay, what is the current version of this app? So the currently this instance is on the Salesforce. Sorry, summer 26 patch level. It is a currently that's version it is running. See, Asia Pacific region. Clear, right?
Yes.
And if you see what are the Salesforce services, okay, so you can see, okay, so see, for example, all the Salesforce are which are having instance ID as CS316, they have some issue, clear, degradation.
Okay.
And few instances which are having this logo into red color mark, they are seeing some service interruption itself, okay.
Okay.
And these are some under maintenance. So any Salesforce are which are having AP54 is actually Salesforce is maintaining it because of some reasons. Okay. So this is how they'll actually help. Okay. So and also if you want to only focus on Asia Pacific region or EMEA regions, okay, or Americas region, okay, you can actually filter it out for each and everything. So okay, so if they see something might be an issue, okay, so if they're actually seeing, see, let me go to the.
So if we are facing some issues, it can be possible that there is some problem going on in the background or something.
See, facing issue means see, if regularly if you are developing or using validation rules or triggers or something or trigger flow, see that is our develop. If you are facing errors, it's like development issue, implementation errors.
Okay.
Itself, if you see an issue, then we need to check on here. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Okay.
And see, if you see, they have some incidents also. So some they have some issue, okay, with this ID, and what are the affected instances, okay. So whether the maintenance is going, so these are current instances, okay. These are the maintenance instances, okay. So which instance is affected, okay. When it will like it's scheduled maintenance, okay. So like you see, what is the instance ID that got affected, okay. Whether they actually acknowledge that instance, what is the actual issue, okay. So when they are actually going to resolve, when the issue is going to maintenance window, okay. When that maintenance window is going to be end, okay. So that's all. Like so, I mean, it's very. I'm talking about a very large, what do you call, perspective. Maybe later. So you see, as a developer, as soon as you join, you will not be going to deal with all these things. But you should be aware of what when where is this instance ID. And what do you mean by status.salesforce? That's you should be aware of it. Okay. So maybe in future if you want to see some product of the Salesforce itself is not working, and before reaching out to Salesforce support, you can copy this and check it here. They actually acknowledge the issue or not. Okay. Clear, right?
Yes.
Okay. See if you see 10 products and services 101 instances. So that's what the purpose of instance ID. Next, so if you see here, so used data space, used file space. That means what do you mean by file space? So if you go to the Salesforce org and if you go to the what you call app launcher, if you type the files, okay, we can upload the files here. Okay, files like anything in your local app from your local laptop. Okay. So that you can use it, you can actually use the, see if you click on here, for example, this is the what you call SFTC MMAct integration PDF. Okay, so you can actually copy this one. Okay, you can actually edit the file details. Okay, so what is it? Okay, name. Okay, so why we need to upload it? Okay, for example, you can actually copy this one, copy publicly. We can actually generate a link. If you click on the link, okay, so it will actually create a link. Okay, so public link means anyone with this link can actually download it, okay, within the Salesforce. But if you want to protect this, I mean, for example, you want to protect this with password, you can actually enable it, okay. And also we can set the expiration link for this generated file link. Clear, right? Yes. So basically, if you want to share any particular Word document, any document with multiple users of within the Salesforce, okay. So you can use these files, okay. So there are many other use cases also. For example, we can actually upload the logo, and we can use this first. If you want to use the logo in one of your what do you call dashboard or somewhere, so first you need to upload it to the files. Then you can generate the link, and then you can use it. Okay. So you can actually upload the multiple versions of your what do you call logo and all. Okay. So why I'm saying all these things means, so here we have used file space. For example, we can actually store the, see, I have actually out of given file space, see how much, what is the data storage limit in the Salesforce the R that I can do. See, I can load the total number of files I can load, or else I can store is a 20 MB, sir. 20 MB total. All the file size cannot be more than 20 MB. Clear?
Okay.
Out of the 20 MB, I have actually consumed up to 822 KB. So this storage limits also we can actually check it here. So what is the difference between file storage and data storage? So file storage is directly that any file that we actually go and upload to the files. So what do we mean by data storage? For example, any data that you create, okay, and any standard or custom objects will be counted against the data storage. Clear?
Okay.
So you cannot create records which are actually unlimited. So you cannot create more than 5 MB. So all the cumulative sum of all our standard and custom object records cannot be more than 5 MB. So currently we have only 13% of the storage limits of the data. Clear, right? So out of this data storage, for example, I have actually consumed 652 KB out of 5 MB. So which object records are more? On which object we have what is the count of records, and how much these 56 records are actually consuming out of this 652. Clear, right?
Yes.
So based on this, for example, if you about to reach any limit on the total data storage, you can see which object is taking the object records is taking actually consuming the more, and you can actually filter and delete if it is unnecessary. You can discuss with your team, then you can actually delete unnecessary records so that you can free up the your
spaces.
That's it. Okay. And who is actually using the more data storage, so actually uploading the more file like that. Okay, so you can actually use the data storage top data storage. Okay, so
So
like
they have to buy that or something, or they can increase the capacity.
Like this person is actually uploaded the more files like that. Okay, they don't need to buy it. You don't need to hit this limit. Okay, that's it. If you want to increase the limit, then again you need to reach out to Salesforce support it. Clear, right?
Okay.
So since you are seeing the like big object as a word here, so I'm talking about. Otherwise, I don't want to talk about it now. So like we have the two types of objects. One is standard object, another is custom object. Standard and custom object. So there is one more type called big objects, okay, in the Salesforce. So far we know only there are two type of objects in Salesforce, okay. But there is one more type also called big objects. So big object is specifically designed for storing millions or billions of records. I can say. I mean, it's a large number of records. Large number of records basically. So big objects is like, for example, we have any orders data, for example, Amazon orders data. So each and every day we will be having very large lakhs of orders. Okay. So we cannot store these records, okay, for example, orders, which are actually generating very heavily the real-time basis. Okay, because we will easily hit this data storage limit. Okay. So big object is something which specifically in the backend is specifically designed with some big data objects. You might be Hadoop, okay, you might be Hadoop. So I don't exactly don't know exact architecture they are actually used for developing this one, but I know when we should go for the big objects. Okay, this is the Salesforce. So traditional objects, standard custom objects, can be stored up to limited number of records. But if you want to store millions or billions of number of records, then Salesforce recommends to use the big objects. So where do you find? So the reason, since I am seeing this big objects here, that's the reason I am explaining you. Otherwise, it's not necessary as of now. Okay. So since we are talking about big objects, we also have the big objects here. See, big objects. If you open the big objects, so this is a user interface of big objects. Okay? See, if you see here, big objects are custom objects. One of the custom objects that store the large number of data. So it can not only customer data, large number of data. Clear, right? For
Okay.
example, if you want to store any orders data, log data, event data. So the traditional objects will not support the large number of records. Okay. So that
Okay.
is the reason we actually go with the big objects. Clear?
Yes.
See, you will not create this big object directly from the object manager. So don't think that this big object will be visible in the object manager. It will not be visible. So it is a separate setup we have called big object section. Okay. If you want to create the new object, then you need to click on the new here. Okay. So here you need to give, for example, Amazon orders or like Flipkart orders. Okay. Orders. Like say, automatically. So now if you click on the cell, so this is how we need to create the big object. Okay. See, big objects always have the API name underscore B. Okay. And custom objects have the API name underscore C. Clear, right?
Yes.
Underscore C. So if any object API name is ending with underscore B, that means you should understand it's a big object.
It's a
Not
big.
traditional standard custom. Not the traditional custom object. See. Now if you see standard fields, so once you create any custom object, you will get 4 standard fields. If you remember, what are those 4 standard fields? Name, created by, last modified by, and owner. If you remember, okay. So here you will not get any standard fields. Okay.
Okay.
So next we have the custom fields and relationships. For example, just like we create the custom fields, just like the custom fields, we also create the custom fields and relationships. Click on here. Okay. See, but this big object will not support all the data types, just like regular our this supports custom objects, custom field supports. Clear?
Okay.
There is only limited number of data type that it supports, and also it is not supporting the master detail. Remember.
Okay.
So big objects will not support the master detail. For example, it is only supporting the lookup. Okay. If you want to look up to different objects, you need to select to which object you need to look up this big object. For example, one account can have a large number of, for example, if you are expecting very billions of the, or at least more than a lakh or more than that, anything. Okay, so very large number of records, then it's better to go with the big objects. So if you see what it is only support this main name, for example, click on here, number type, order number, click on next. So if you click on required, that means it's like 900 repeat to create a record. Okay. So now, so you are seeing something called to complete the big object setup, define a custom index. Before you can define a custom index, create at least one required custom field. That means, see, the big object creation is not yet completed yet, as per this message, right? So as of now, it is saying that we did the big object creation is not yet completed. So what they are asking us to complete the step is that you need to define a custom index. Okay. So here they are saying we have an index. If you create the new index, that will be a custom index. But before doing that, so they are actually saying that okay, at least create one custom field which is with the required checkbox. So when you say required custom field means that should have the required checkbox. Clear, right? So I have actually created one required checkbox. Okay. So click on it. So what is the purpose? See, this custom index is only specific to this big objects. Okay. So if you know, like, so before talking about custom index, so for any table in a relational database, okay. So if you remember, we should have one primary field. So what do you mean by primary field? A field which uniquely identifies the row, each row of in a table. Clear, right? What I mean by primary. So this indexing will also similar to that. Okay, so it's not, I cannot say exactly same. Okay, so basically, what I'm trying to say here is that if you write any SQL query, okay, for example, select ID comma name, okay, from account. So this is not efficient query. Efficient query in terms of development. So when we talk about when we talk about development, we'll talk about more on this efficient queries. So Why this is not efficient query? So efficient query is something, if you apply any filters, okay. So it should see efficient query. What do you mean by efficient query? The efficient query means this should actually return only required data. For example, if I want all the account records which are created in last 30 days, but if I write like this, okay, and then if I go with the again writing the for loop and checking the condition, this is not recommended. Okay, so any query which is actually having the where condition on primary field. What do you mean by primary field? Okay, for example, owner ID. Okay, this is one of the primary field, because owner ID means, see, one user can have up to n number of records as their ownership, or else created by ID. Okay, created by ID, okay, created by ID, or last modified by ID. Okay, created by ID, or created date. Okay, so if you have where condition on the primary fields, for example. So what do you mean by primary fields? The fields which uniquely identifies, or else I cannot select. So instead of primary, I can say. So basically, if you write where condition on certain fields in the Salesforce, are the backend Salesforce engine will not take more time to retrieve those records. It's very easy for the backend Salesforce engine. It takes very less number of time for Salesforce to execute that SQL. So what do you mean by SQL? Efficient SQL query means if your SQL query takes very less time to execute, then you will call it as an efficient SQL query. So why I'm telling all about these things now means, so in big objects will actually, it is asking you to define one index. So why we need to define an index? So what do you mean by big objects? It's very large, so it's like a very big box of data, I mean big table of data. So when you have billion number of records, it should have a primary key. So that based on that, when you write any query on the big objects, so if you write filtering on the primary key, it is very efficient for the data of Salesforce to search or to query the data. Clear, right? So if you don't define any primary key, for example, if you have the sales, what you call student data, okay, and you are not capturing the student IDs. And if I come to your office and if I ask, give me list of all the students whose name is starting with Bharat, okay. So it's very difficult for the system, what you call, to search through all the records. So for example, it's better if you have, so I need to, if you give the Salesforce, student IDs, and I need all the student data, so and so, it's very easy for the Salesforce engine to query when you write where condition on the primary fields. So because of that reason, so since say this big object stores very large number of data, so creating an index is actually recommended. Okay, it's a recommended practice, but also necessary practice to define at least one field as an index field. Okay, clear, right?
Yes.
So you don't need to go too deep dive on it. So just remember, we have a concept called big objects. In order to create the big objects, I need to go to the setup, and I cannot create the master detail, and it only allows limited number of data types in the big object custom relation. Clear so far? Are you clear on that point? But we also need to create one custom field, which is actually required field. Okay. So in order to create a custom index, I need to create a custom index on the required field. Okay. For example, so you don't need to focus on what do you mean by intelligent, etc. Just focus on how to create a big object. That's it. Okay. So why I'm talking about all these things? Because I came across this word. I'm just talking about. See how many big objects. I can store up to 10 lakh records. 10 lakh records on all big objects. So there's some issue with this creation. Okay. So cumulatively, if I have 5 big objects, so 10 lakh divided by 5. So each thing or else I can store all the 10 lakh records inside one big object. It's up to us. Okay. So there is some issue. So now you are clear what do you mean by big object. At least what do you mean by what? That's it, right? No. Now we are clear on this one. Okay. So in last class, okay, so do you remember we discussed about, so now you don't have any confusion on the company information, okay. But also in company information, so we need to talk about licenses. So are you clear so far what do you mean by data storage? Okay, so these things. Do you have any questions?
No,
Any questions?
not as of now.
Also, see if you see, we can control certain other things here. For example, few companies start their fiscal year in April. Few companies start their fiscal year in October. So as per your company implementation, when your company, as per your company calendar, when is the financial year in your company actually defined? Okay, you can actually define that fiscal year starting, and what is the currency? See, for example, few what do you call few arcs will have the currency as American dollars. Few arcs can have the American dollar, Japanese yen, okay, and few other Chinese or dollars, like so. It can be anything, okay. So
Okay.
where does your business is actually operating, and you want the local currency to be activated in. Okay, for example, I am using the local currency INR. Okay, if my all the business that I will be doing is within that, I prefer INR calculations. So like this, we can also convert the throughout the org what is the currency what I call logo that I need to show. Okay, so that I can actually define what is my org level currency. I can define. Okay, also I can activate the multiple currencies. That means I want to store data in INR. I also want to store in the Sri Lankan rupees, like that. So I want to, my business is actually across the different countries, and I want to handle my Salesforce. I mean, numbers of the currency numbers within multiple currencies also. Okay, then I should activate this. Okay, activate multiple currencies. Clear, right?
Yes.
And also each and every org, see, can have its own time zone. Okay, clear, like so you can define time zone as per your preferred way of time zone. I mean, so whatever the time zone level you want. Okay.
Okay.
So everything that we can control here is like basically total org information. Okay, so just remember that. Okay, next, if you see here, we have user licenses and we have the permission set licenses. We will not talk about permission set licenses here. Okay, then we have the feature licenses. Okay, usage based license. Okay, so now let's only focus on the so user licenses. Okay, now so in last class we discussed about how to create a user and how to deactivate a user also. For example, if any user actually going away from the resigning from the company and I don't want him to log in with the Salesforce, I can actually come here, I can deactivate by editing this and uncheck this one. Okay, so when we actually deactivate, if we need to focus on this one. Okay, so if you see any Salesforce user, I mean user, this is actually user record. Okay, now you are just focus on the profile and user license. Okay, so profile we already discussed. We can control lot many things like tab permissions, tab visibility, app level access, password policies, field level security. All these things can be controlled at a profile level, and you are clear on that one. Okay. And basically, I mean, or at least what we can do and all, you are clear. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So each and every profile is actually associated with one user license. Okay. That means if you go and if you try to create an user in the Salesforce app, so selecting a profile is mandatory. For example, these are all the existing users. Okay. For example, this integration user is going to going to resign from my company. I can actually edit this one and I uncheck this one. So that you should remember. Okay. Now, if you open any user, okay, randomly if you open any user, so this guy is actually active user. See, active user. Just remember, if you want to deactivate it, you need to edit it and you need to uncheck this one so that you will not be able to log in again. Okay.
Okay.
So any user who logs into the Salesforce always need to use his username, not the email. That is. So that also you know, right? So username is the. So if you go and log in information, it actually asks your username, not the email. Okay.
Email address.
Okay. So this is this username should be unique for each and every. It cannot be duplicated. See, the same we can create the multiple users with the same email but with the different usernames. Okay. Now, if you create the new user, if you go and create the new user, okay. See, selecting a user license and profile is mandatory. So why I'm talking about this one here is for each and every profile is actually dependent on the user license. If I select the work.com only, see profile is showing. If I select the Salesforce platform, I will see. So basically, I can say this is like a controlling field, this is like a pick list field. So though technically we are not setting up, I am not doing to the user object. Okay, I don't have the pick list called what you call user license. Okay, and I don't have another pick list called profile. No, I don't have. I'm not. I didn't define this field dependencies. Got it? So this is inherent. Even see, you do remember like teacher, state and city. If I select what are the state, I want to see only those cities. So that is a field dependencies that we define manually. But this user license and based on the profile, it actually Salesforce itself defined. Okay. So for this user license, it selects so only allow this profiles like that. Okay. So if you create any user with so and so profile, for example, if I create a user with this profile. And if I click on save, and if once it is active, that means I am consuming one user license that I have here. Got it? Yeah. So basically, each edition comes up with a different user count of different user licenses. For example, I want more number of Salesforce user licenses with the Salesforce names, Salesforce user licenses. Then basically, developer edition, you will give me only 2 Salesforce user licenses. Clear?
Okay.
If you want to use more users which are using the Salesforce license, I mean Salesforce user license, then I cannot do more. See, already they have given me 2 licenses, and I actually consume 2 licenses. I cannot create a new user with the user license called Salesforce. Clear? Understood? So my user is one of with the Salesforce user license. Okay, and there is one more, might be another user with the same Salesforce license. Okay, that is the reason I consume both. So basically, whenever you create an user, you should actually give one profile to it, and each and every profile is actually associated with one user license. You cannot create more users than what is actually, I mean, assigned licenses. Are you clear?
Yes. Okay.
So in your real time, if you're actually working as a senior Salesforce administrator or the developer, so you should keep an eye how many licenses that are currently Salesforce we have, how many they actually used. If they ask you to create the new user, what is the Salesforce profile that you want to assign? What is the associated user license that you have? You should ask these questions. For example, if I ask you to create a user, you should not go and directly click on the new user from the setup. You should ask questions. What is the role that you want me to assign? What is the profile that you want me to assign? And each profile automatically assigned with Salesforce license. Okay. For example, if you do not, I will give one profile, and the associated profile user license is not available. It's already consumed. Then you should go and check why I am not able to create a user with the associated given profile. And what is the associated user license? Whether I have the free user licenses or not. If not, I need to communicate. You need to communicate back to me. You asked me to create this profile, and this profile is actually associated with these user licenses, and we already consumed all licenses available for this Salesforce. That is the reason I am not able to create. Clear?
Yes.
So why this has given this 5,000 licenses for this one? Why this is only for one? Why this is so? See each and every profile. Okay, there are few standard profiles, there are few custom profiles. If you create a new, if you want to create the, just like we create the custom object, if you want to create the new custom profile, we can also create. But do you remember, like each and every profile controls the different accesses. There are few profiles which are very basic. For example, I don't want any user go and log in and create the Salesforce records and all. I just want to simply give the access. That's it. So not all profile have the same permissions. You know, like see profile level we can do the object permissions, field level permissions, tab, password policies, app access. So each and every profile will not have the same permissions. See, for example, these permissions can have X ABCD permissions, and this profile can have the XYZ permissions. Clear? For example, if I open randomly this thing, okay, you can actually navigate like this. Okay. So I opened randomly system administrator and 2 other profiles. Okay. So and if you go here, see if I create a user with profile, which is associated with this charter free licenses,
Mm-hmm.
you will not be able to do these things, whereas checkbox is not available. Correct?
Okay.
So also, if you see, we do not have a object permissions and all. If you go to my system administrator, I have so many things here. See, system administrator profile. But if you go here and see for the charter moderator user, I don't see anything. That means he can only do these things, and also he cannot do any objects and all. He cannot do any filial security and all, because this is very simple profile, which with no access to any objects. Clear?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, see charter. Like, so what do you mean by charter? It's actually internal communication platform that you are aware of it, right?
Yes.
So if you want any user just to simply use the charter, okay, that like posting something, that's it. Okay. So you see, if you want to use that, you add the people to direct messages like at the rate annotation or moderate, like, so if you want to control the charter post, okay. So if you want to create so these activities only you can do. See if you cross compare with the system administrator, we have many other things here, right? So that means all the profiles are not same. Few profiles can have the permissions to do everything just like system system administrator, and few other profiles can be having very limited just login access. That's it. So based on your use case, which user need to have which profile is what very main what we call important decision should see. So just simply creating with a random any user with a random profile is not recommended, because everything that user can do within the Salesforce org can be defined at the profile level.
By profile.
Which profile is associated with user license. It's very, very important to check what this user should be capable of and what profile we should actually associate it with. So based on that one only, we need to decide which profile to be associated with, and whether that profile associated user license with the we have the free license available user licenses or not. See, this profile is associated with this user license, and this profile is associated with this user license. Okay. For example, if I create a new user and if I assign him the system admin clone, so which Salesforce license it is going to consume? Salesforce license only. Got it?
Okay.
See, if I create a user with this profile, or if I create with this user with this profile, any profile. See all these profiles, and this profile is also associated with the Salesforce license. Okay.
Okay.
I cannot create a user more than two with any of these profiles, because all cumulatively I have the Salesforce licenses too.
Yes.
So I cannot go and say that I need to create two users with this profile and I need to create no, cumulatively total number of Salesforce licenses is 2. Either you can create two users with this one user with this profile, or one with this profile, or one user with this profile or this profile. Cumulatively 2 only users you can create. As far as this, you are within this limit. Now we are clear what do you mean by user licenses, and also focus on each and every profile is associated with one or other user licenses. Clear?
Yes.
Now, if you go and create the new profile, for example, I already created one new profile. Okay, so for example, see, system administrator cloned. I cloned the existing profile.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how to create? If you go and click on the new, it will actually ask which profile you want to clone. Okay, so I just given and I selected the system administrator and I have given the name as system administrator, and this profile is also associated with this user license, just like
correct.
This. So since I have cloned the system administrator profile, I will see all the things just like I have in the system administrator. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See, I can create one user with the system administrator and I can create another user with the system administrator. Clone. Clear?
Mm-hmm.
If you see view users, okay. So none of the users actually assigned with this profile. Okay. Now, and if I see Salesforce licenses, there are 2 and I consumed 2. Okay.
2.
But the assigned Salesforce license, see, this user I don't have any user assigned with this profile. And if I go here and I check and if I go to and check view users, So it will give all the users associated with this system admin. See, I have only one. So where does the other user, okay, who is associated with the user license called Salesforce? Got it? See, one is me. Okay, logged in as a
Yes.
system administrator. But if I see here, there are two users. This is Salesforce license. One is me. Who is the other user? That's the question. One way I can do this one is like create the new list view and create a filter on the list view called like user license equal Salesforce. It will give all the profiles with the Salesforce user licenses. Then go on each and every profile and check on the assigned user licenses. Clear? That's how I can do. Okay, that is one way. Okay. See, what is the other way? I can try writing a SQL query. Clear?
Okay.
Now select ID comma name comma profile dot name from user. Okay, clear? It will give all the users within the Salesforce. Clear?
Okay.
There is one more field called is active also, which tells whether the user is active or not. You know?
Okay.
If I deactivate, if I go and edit the user and if I edit and uncheck the active checkbox, then he is actually inactive user. So in Salesforce, you just need to remember we cannot delete an user. Clear?
Yes.
We can only deactivate and we can only freeze. So why we cannot delete is it because of the security concerns? Salesforce actually not allowing any user to be deleted because you created one record, Apache record, and if Salesforce allows you to delete your user record. If I go to the Apache record, I don't have any clue who created that record. Clear?
Correct.
Because of tracking purpose, they will not allow to delete any user.
Yeah. Okay.
They will allow to deactivate
Deactivate and freeze.
freeze. Now we are clear with the what is. So my question is, who are all the users? And if you want to, for example, who are all the users associated with so and so profile, you can write where profile.name equals to this one. Clear?
Okay.
And if you want to see who are all the users with the system administrator profile, you need to write where system profile.name equals to, right? Profile.name equals to this one. Simply get. But my question is not who is associated with the system administrator profile. Who is associated with the user license? Okay.
License. Correct.
Whether I have the license or not. Okay. So I don't see license field. How can I get? Okay. Now let me check whether I can profile data license I have. See, there is a thing called user license. Okay, got it? Now just remove this one. Type user license ID. There is a profile dot user license dot ID, comma profile dot user license LICNSE dot name. So by this, what I need to understand? Okay, see for user, when I am writing profile dot name, that is a profile is a parent. Clear?
Yes.
So profile is a parent. So you know, like if I am writing the select ID comma name from account, for example, do you remember like select ID comma name from contact operator from contact operator. What does it will be? All the contact information. Okay. If I write account dot name, what does it mean? Account is the parent of this contact. You remember this one, right?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, similarly, if I am writing profile.name, when I am writing the main query on the user, that means user is a parent. Sorry, profile is a parent for the user. Clear?
Okay.
So, if similarly, now like so when I write profile dot user license, that means user license is a parent of profile.
Okay.
So when I write account dot name, one account can have multiple contacts. So, account is the parent, contact is child. You are clear, right?
Yes.
And similarly, when I write profile.name, profile is the parent. Clear? Just like you wrote account ID. Account is a lookup on the contact object. You do have any query or confusion on this one when I go to the child to parent?
No.
Similarly, one user can have, one profile can have multiple users. I can have the same system pros.com for user with the same profile. I can have multiple users. You know that one, right? So that means like when I write profile.name, that is like profile is the parent of user. Clear?
Okay.
Similarly, user license is an object that is the parent of profile.
Okay.
Clear?
Uh-huh.
So when I say profile.name, when my question query on the user, profile.name, profile is the parent of user. So just like when I write account.name, contact object is the main query. When I give the account.name, account is the parent, and one account can have multiple contacts. So that is and it is as a lookup relationship. I am able to go to the parent object dot name. Similar to that, are you clear? So you are clear so far, right?
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Similarly, user license is an object that is a parent of profile.
Okay.
So that is the reason I am able to go to the profile. I mean profile dot, again its parent object dot its ID. Got it? So
Okay.
what is the user license associated with this profile? Got it?
Uh-huh.
Clear?
Yes.
So now my question is, I want to filter on the Salesforce user license associated users. So what do I do? Copy this one, right? Where? Equals to Salesforce.
Okay. Salesforce.
Now it will give all the users.
Okay.
So though they are from a different profile,
Uh-huh.
okay, these two users are associated with the Salesforce users. Clear? So
Yes.
because of these two users, I consume two user licenses. Clear?
Uh-huh. Okay.
So that's how you need to be able to use the queries instead of navigating through a user interface. It's better always if you have something query on the data wise. It's better to use the queries. Clear?
Okay. Yes.
So I need to jump on to another call. Okay. So if you have any